Charvel, Jackson, Floyd Rose, Jeff Beck. All those words wrapped up in one bundle are attributed to this gem of a guitar, and perhaps some of those words are a warm and familiar reminder of a time when there was no email, no texting, no internet, and the beginning of conventional digital cell phone use by the public was, well, just right around the corner. Hi, this is Steve, Critical Dreamer Channel. Thanks for being here. Somewhere in the About section of my channel, it says something about one of the topics being music. So I guess it's time for the first installment of that category. This is a 1989-1990 Charvel Contemporary Series guitar. It was and is most commonly known as its model name, the Spectrum. Now, these were only made for 3 years, and that was 1989 through 1991, and they were pretty much available in 5 colors. There was black, deep blue, desert crackle, orange, sea foam green, some people called it ocean foam green, and this one. This color is sometimes referred to as pink, but it's really not pink. It's commonly listed as violet, and that's the color I think it was sold as, but I think the most accurate description of the color is magenta or even fuchsia. Now, I bought this while I was in the band in the 1990s called Retrospect. In that band, I did some keyboard work, some vocal work, and rhythm guitar work. Now, the lead guitarist, a very good lead guitarist and a very good friend of mine, Robert, had one of these in the seafoam green color. I love that thing. And I thought it would be visually exciting for the crowd to see the 2 models of the same guitar in different colors on stage. So I happened to find one, and that was in 1990. So here it is after all those years, and it's still in superb condition. So let's take a look from head to toe. Now, first of all, these were made in Japan. In fact, I'm almost positive the Spectrum was the first Japanese Charvel import when back in 1989, Jackson sold the Charvel/Jackson brand to IMC, International Music Corp, in Japan. But it was the ratio of quality to purchase price, which is really one of the reasons it was so desirable, or at least to those of us who thought it was really cool. So it has the reverse headstock, and you know, being 28 years old, lots of rehearsals, transporting, stage performances back in the day, and since then I still managed to not chip, split, or damage the tip of the headstock here. It's in perfect condition, so I was pretty lucky. I don't know how that happened, but thankfully that's how it is. It's got the Charvel toothpaste logo, is what they call it. The tuning pegs on this guitar are still very smooth to operate. There's no sticking. They work very well. The Truss Rod cover, and let's see if we can smoothly transition over here for you. It's got the locking nut. Now on the back of the neck, there's a handy little holder where it came supplied with a couple Allen wrenches, and that's to lock down the nut, and the other one's for the string saddles. It only had the one wrench when I bought it. The smaller one wasn't with it, but that's how I bought it, and that's how it was, and that's how it's been ever since. So the neck is, it's a rosewood fretboard, 22 frets. Let's see if we get a better look over here. The 22 frets. It's got the white dot inlays on the fretboard, and then on the top of the neck, coming down towards the body. Look at her shine. The body is a double cutaway basswood, and it's got that coolness of that P-bass pickguard. Now, as far as the pickups, it's got 3 J200 single coil active pickups. They're really sort of like a double stack single coil. And these guitars, because of the pickups in the active circuit, have a pretty bright and out front tone. They're amazingly versatile when using the active EQ for rhythm guitar, and they're very sharp and crisp, but a little bit thin sounding for lead unless you really pay attention to and until you become familiar with the way this active circuit works. Other than that, it's great once you get the hang of it and you understand it has its own very specific sound. It is very, very versatile the way it's set up. So let's move down here a little bit more. Here we have the 5-way pickup selector switch. There's 2 knobs. There's volume and tone. And the tone is the active preamp with the built-in wideband tone filter. Some call it a built-in wah-wah pedal. If you're familiar with this guitar, you'll understand why, and you'll see in the coming video about how that works. And there's a bypass switch here. That's for the active circuit. Now on the bridge, it says right over here, licensed under Floyd Rose patents. That's what it says. So Floyd Rose double locking tremolo with the Jackson name. And it says right here, made in Germany by Schaller. So I'm guessing that might be a JT590, maybe. If you know the correct answer, then correct me if I'm wrong or confirm if I'm right. Let's see if anybody knows. So again, that second smaller Allen wrench was for the string saddles over there. The one that I actually don't have anymore. And, I've never really liked the process of restringing or replacing the strings on the bridge of this guitar, especially at a gig. A little bit of prep work, cutting off the ball ends, using the Allen wrench to secure the strings. It's all something everybody's familiar with. They've done it a million times. It's not a big deal. And, pretty darn good bridge. But, in the course of doing a gig, especially in low light, breaking a string and having to switch it over in the middle of a gig, trying to lock down the set screw with the wrench without the tip of the wrench scarring or marring the finish can be a little disconcerting, but obviously no major damage I've had through the years and been able to do it well enough to not cause a problem. But other than that, I have found it a little bit awkward to work with, but it still is good for what it is. And of course we have the tremolo bar or the whammy bar with the threaded thimble. And of course the input jack on the bottom there. So let's turn it over and check out the backside. So this would be the bottom of the guitar, if you're a right-handed player, of course. And under there is the circuitry for the knobs and the active circuit, and where the 9-volt battery is stored. Is the cover for the pickup group. And coming along down the neck, oh, there we have it. The manufacturer's nameplate, Charvel, and the serial number. Now, based on my research, I have had a little difficulty trying to figure out exactly what year this was made because the serial numbers don't really seem to coincide with anything. Tried getting in touch with Charvel. There's really not a lot of information about it. All I really have is my receipt, and I'm basing it on my receipt. But anyway, on this manufacturer's plate, as you can see, it's a bolt-on neck, serial number, and then sort of raised lettering in the black. You can't really see it. It says Fort Worth, Texas, USA. I suppose it could also say, haha, we fool you, because we know that's not accurate, and perhaps just that plate was made in Fort Worth, Texas. Who knows? But that's what it says. So let's take a look and run down the maple neck. Alrighty. So there's the maple neck. Jackson tuning head, says Jackson on there. There's the Allen wrench holder, and it even has a cool little set screw, Phillips head set screw, so you can adjust the tension you want on the wrenches. Again, now these Spectrum models were a collaboration that involved Charvel, Jackson, IMC, with Jeff Beck's name attached to the incorporation of the active preamp circuit. I've always thought of it as sort of his signature model. That's just sort of how it sat with me, and I think some other people that were familiar with this guitar. Regardless, the Charvel Spectrum is as fun to play as its visual aesthetics. This one plays flawlessly. It holds its tuning, all the wiring, pots, pickups, switches, everything is in perfect order and still factory original. Interestingly enough, of course, since I bought it, the only two things I've ever had to do to it is change the battery when needed and change the strings as needed. And don't look yet, because if you're wondering, yes, there is a factory original Charvel hard shell case. Just don't close it with that whammy bar on. Okay, so if you own one of these, please leave a comment in the comment section. There's not too much info on the internet or YouTube about the Spectrum, but what's for sure is that they're still appreciated for their very specific place in 80s musical instruments. Again, for those of us who really think they're cool. Be present, Be mindful, and remember, it's all about the harmony.